Hello there and welcome back to another video where I will be testing another trading strategy, and this time we are going to ride the Bollinger Bands. It is one of my older strategies that I developed a long time ago, and I recently found it again when I was reorganizing and cleaning stuff up. So get ready to backtest this strategy. When I found this strategy, I immediately thought that it would be a nice deviation from the last couple of videos, where I only tested the strategies that you can find in the default Freqtrade strategies GitHub repository. Not to worry though, I still have some of them left to test, but I will start and test other found strategies in the meantime from now on. Now I will leave this strategy in my GitHub repository, which contains all the tested strategies. You can use it yourself or can build upon it to create even better performing bot trading strategies. Now let's see how this strategy works. This one is rather well known, and I think it was first described by John Bollinger himself in his book Bollinger on Bollinger Bands. What this strategy intends to do is to buy an asset when the price aggressively moves up and above the Bollinger Band. This indicates a strong market momentum and the possibility that prices could go higher. A lot of people try to buy below the lower Bollinger Bands and sell when the price is above the upper band, which on itself is a totally different strategy, but this band riding strategy is one for trend followers and faders. And at some point the trend will be exhausted and profits should be taken. These moments are also determined in the strategy. And it has a couple of simple rules to follow. It buys when the price closes above the upper Bollinger Bands. I use another indicator that also look at the width of the band. If the band also widens above a certain amount, then the momentum is really there. This tries to prevent fake movements, with tight price closes above the Bollinger Bands, but without the positive momentum in the market. And there are three ways this strategy will exit. The first, of course, is the stop loss moment, for the times the trade did not go as expected. The second exit signal is the ROI setting of the trading bot. And the third and additional exit indicator, which I use here, is the MACD indicator. And when the MACD signal line gets below 0, then the trend has been exhausted and we can exit the trade. So, in short, there are buy signals when the price closes above the higher Bollinger Band and the bands widen above a certain amount. And the bot sells when momentum disappears, which is indicated by the MACD signal line that gets below the 0 line, or the ROI points get a predefined profit point and that gets hit, or the stop loss gets hit. Now how does this look in the code? We start with defining our first and only take profit points, which states that if the profit reaches 30% of the initial buy price, then sell the position and lock in profits. And for some reason I coded this into the strategy, but I cannot really remember why 30%. But anyway, let's continue. The second parameter here is the stop loss point. This states that if at any moment there is a loss of 23.5% after the initial buy, then the position should be sold. And here is the time frame where the strategy was originally built for. Better know that this is not always the best time frame after testing. So let's leave it at this and move on with the next part, and that is where the parameters are defined. You can see here that the Bollinger Bands indicator is configured. This is the default Bollinger Bands setup with a default 20 simple moving average here. And then over here we calculate the width of the band, which is the upper band price minus the lower band price, and that divided by the moving average used. And finally over here we configure the MACD indicator with its default values, and they're also configured in the TA library itself. Now this little print statement shows you the output of the data frame in your terminal window. This way you can check if the calculations are made correctly by the bot. These are commented out, but you can uncomment these to see what happens on your screen when backtesting. And I leave it here. Then next there is the main strategy setup. Here the buy and sell signals are defined, and as you can see, the pseudocode from earlier is coded in real Python code that the bot can read and use. This buy section checks if the close price is above the upper Bollinger Band, and this checks if the band is higher than 0.02%. And if it's below, then there is not enough momentum and the bot will not buy. And finally over here, this sell function tells the bot to sell if the MACD signal line gets below 0. And this indicates that the trend has lost its momentum and the position can be sold. And there you have it, a simple Bollinger Bands riding strategy coded into trading bot code so that you don't have to worry to do this manually. Let's find out in our initial backtest to see how this performs on the backtesting data. It is very nice to see a working strategy again, which is easy to understand and that is also getting nice profits against a modest risk after some time. And as much as I'd like the gains on the 4-hour and 1-hour time frame, I must say that my sheet tells me to stick on the 1-day time frame due to the lower drawdown, higher win rate and the usability on 77% of the top 50 coins that I have configured. And if we take a closer look to the exit reason stats, then we see that the ROI and stop loss settings have the most influence on the results of this time frame. So if I want to make this strategy more optimized, then adjusting the ROI and stop loss would possibly make the biggest difference here. So let's find out, shall we? Changing the settings on the ROI and stop loss significantly increased the performance of this strategy. Changing the ROI from only 30% to some time-based stop loss settings, where one of them even instructs to take profit after 100% gain, made this strategy performs really well, in my opinion. Also, changing the stop loss setting from 23 to almost 35% apparently caused this strategy not to stop out many times, but left the exit signal determine where to exit the trade. Although I am not a big supporter of these wide stop loss settings, apparently this worked for this strategy. And if I would use this strategy, I would really want to try to investigate further how to adjust this stop loss setting. Nonetheless, the exit signal did a good job because it stopped out a trade before it got even bigger losses. And in the end, it had lesser negative profits than the earlier tested stop loss setting, as you can see in this overview. So all in all, I am very curious where this strategy enters into the overall strategy league. Let's find out. As you can see, Riding the Bands enters the total league on the 6th spot. And this is a very pleasant surprise after having a range of strategies that are, well, say mediocre to even bad. Band riding has not the biggest gains, but its win rate is very admirable, which also results in a medium risk of ruin. I doubt if I can ever find a better win rate than the NFX strategy, but that one has a much lower profit. A little bit more risk taking can really make the difference between a hobby or income, and it's all on you, on your own preference of course, which strategy to use at the end. So with this conclusion, we are at the end of this video. The strategy and its results are in my GitHub repository, and I will leave the links to that location in the description below. There will also be links to my blog site, which contains most of the transcripts and some additional information about this strategy. Thank you for watching this video, and if you like the content, then please like, subscribe and click the bell icon. And leave a comment if you have one, or perhaps a strategy that you want to have tested by me. And I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
home.